Hello, I'm Peter Stewart and we're talking about accents on Get a Better Broadcast Podcast and Video Voice. Not just about accents, but with an accent as well. Maybe it's an opportunity to explain a little bit more about my accent. So I'm British, I'm English, I'm speaking English with an English accent. I was born and brought up just outside London in the southeast of England, which is supposed to be quite generally middle class, less industrial. So my accent is what one might refer to as received pronunciation. It's perhaps what you may consider to be a traditional English accent. It's sometimes referred to as the Queen's English. It's what you may understand to be English if you are learning English as a second language. It's also been referred to as BBC English, because this is the almost inverted commas accepted accent of the BBC from years ago. Things are changing. Many more regional accents around on the BBC, both nationally and internationally now, which is an altogether fantastic and brilliant thing. Now, I also work for a BBC regional radio station. So is my accent likely to be accepted by the listeners to that radio station? Well, yes, because it's a kind of catch-all accent, so fortunately I could move with my accent perhaps anywhere around the UK and be accepted generally, with the possible exception of some of the nations of Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. But generally, if I was in the West Country, or maybe Manchester or Sheffield or Birmingham, where I lived for several years, then my accent would be accepted, and accepted certainly on a day-to-day basis where I work for the BBC, full disclosure, because the radio station that I work on and read the news for is also in the southeast of England, so therefore people who listen to me generally have my kind of accent as well. So there you go. That's a little bit of explanation about my accent. But of course, accents aren't just how words sound. All accents have a character. Languages have a character, not just a sound. So think of, and we're talking broad brush strokes here, okay, but think of a soft projection of Highland Scottish accent, maybe a harsher, brasher New Yorker speaking, maybe the slow drawl of someone from a southern US state, Alabama or Louisiana or Mississippi. MISSISSIPPI, the almost operatic excitability of an Italian speaker. Yeah? Of course, everyone is different, but there are cultural averages, and it's partly to do with the melody or the song of the accent. Italian, which I just mentioned, has a certain kind of melody and bounce. German has another. We spoke about French a few days ago, which has another, and its tonal constructs and frequencies are something quite different to English or Russian, as we compared it with a few days ago. So you can't change the sound of the vowels and consonants but still speak with the same rhythm and emphasis as your native language. If you're putting on an accent, the whole flow has to change. You may get an idea of how the words move if you move. So watching the behaviour of people speaking in their native tongue, their body language, posture, their overall attitude, watch that to get a literal feel for the language. Going on holiday and sitting, let me take you to Italy, yeah? So I'm not going to pay for your airfare or anything like that. I mean, metaphorically speaking, in your mind's eye, let me take you to Italy, and you're sitting outside a cafe on the pavement with the parasol. You're drinking an espresso, yeah, and you're watching the world go by. And maybe there's a pizzeria the other side of the little square where you are. And you're seeing people having an animated conversation, yeah, using their whole body, particularly with their arms, their expressions as they talk excitedly about the cheese and tomato pizza. Kind of brought it down a little bit at the end. I'm sorry about that. Your picture has been destroyed. Get a Better Broadcast podcast and video voice continues tomorrow with 10 more. 10, I tell you. 10 more great accent tips. If you want to speak your native language but with an accent from somebody else, join me tomorrow as Get a Better Broadcast podcast and video voice continues. From London, I'm Peter Stewart.